or if the barbell's on my back, or I'm loading any kind of weight on my back, I'm hurting my back and loading my discs like we talked about by going straight up. But watch what happens if I cue a little forward. I'm still in an optimal position, and my now knees go out as my butt is back and I head the way up. My chest is slightly forward. I don't have to be straight up and down, because if I'm straight up and down, my spine is, in theory, but in actual, not just in theory, but in actual biomechanical appropriate sense, being crushed. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Pearlman. Welcome back to the channel. And something that's been really on my mind as of late is how many people we are seeing that are actually young high school athletes in particular, parents bringing in their 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds because of recurrent back and knee injuries. What I really want to focus on in this video is the back injury component, because hey, if nothing else, people know that you go to chiropractors for back pain, so we're going to own that in this video. And what we're going to talk about today is why people are bracing and using too much of their middle back instead of properly loading hamstrings and glutes. So stick with me in this video. We're going to go into the office right now and we're going to film and show how we can prevent this and how you can gain more longevity and have less time on the sideline and more time feeling optimal on the field. So what we're going to go through here is the most common reason that a young athlete will develop back pain. I look at it as two main reasons. The first one is that they lift too much with their back, depending on which way they lift, and then even if they have good form, so in other words, they lift too much with their back, as in when they're doing a deadlift or a squat, they're stabilizing their back too much and they're actually not using their glutes and hamstrings. The second reason would be that even if they are bracing and stabilizing through their core, they are stressing out their lat muscles, their trap or lower trap muscles, their intrinsic abdominal muscles, and back muscles, i.e. the erector spinae, the multifidi, the quadratus lumborum, all these cool words we learn in anatomy. But when they come out of a squat, because let's face it, what high school level athlete right now is not squatting, deadlifting, and doing some clean and jerks, or at least the clean for explosive power? The athletes I'm referring to will typically go down in a squat and come up out of the ground straight up and down with their chest high and their eyes fixated on the horizon or looking up. As they come out from a squat, they're really stable and braced around here, which is a good thing. But the problem is their foot position and their failure to understand exactly what to do with their feet, their hips, their glutes, and their hamstrings is causing a lot of pressure through the erector muscles and through all, again, the muscles in the back. That's causing hypertonicity, and it's causing something called maybe a thoracolumbar overbracing. So the muscles spend time really tight and locked up and guarded and eventually cause muscle spasms. So you want to have some mobility, but you also want to have stability. You want that perfect happy medium, stability versus mobility. So how I would cue that or correct that in this office, or my advice to you, first thing is, yes, go to your chiropractor and get adjusted if you're having back spasms, if you're in acute pain, if you are in some type of a situation where you have a mechanical or locked up back and you can't comfortably bend down, or you don't have the freedom to reach forward, or if you're having trouble as a football player getting out of your 3 or 4 point stance, or you're feeling like your back is compromised when you're doing agility, you need to get that addressed via the chiropractic adjustment. Over here we do specific adjusting. Over here we take the whole body into consideration and we make mechanically sound adjustments that stimulate the disc level, take pressure off the disc and the joint itself, and get the nerve function back to being appropriate. And then from there, you would retrain the muscles. You would retrain the movement patterns to be better. So the second thing, or the thing I'm going to show you today in this video is going to be, outside of the chiropractic adjustment, what I would do. So the first thing we have to remember, and you could look up other videos that say hip hinge, right? So we have to learn how to hip hinge. And if we're going into a squat, we have to think of two things. One of them is closing a draw behind me with my rear end. Some people this is difficult for, but a lot of people can imagine, okay, I have a draw that's open, the draw that's open, and I'm going to close it like this. So all I've done is push my butt back, push my butt back. We're not necessarily hinging forward with just our upper body, but we're actually actively pushing our butt back. And that is going to require you to bend your knees slightly, a slight bend in the knees as I push my butt back. So what that would look like in full motion or full speed, which I'm going to move slow, is I push my butt back as my knees bend, and now you can see I can just sit into my squat. So instead of just falling into a squat, or if my arms are out, mimicking a squat, I'm going to actively push my butt back and engage. And the second most important thing that we can do in our squat to not, again, overbrace our back muscles and our abdominal muscles. There is nothing wrong with bracing your abdominal and your core, but you don't want to overbrace on your back. You want the tension off your back. You want the tension loaded in your hamstrings and your glutes. And the second way you'll do that, other than the butt back, is going to be that knees out cue. Now, everybody uses knees out, but you're not being told properly in a lot of circumstances to have the butt back, and it's okay to have your chest slightly forward. What I mean by that is, if I go butt back and knees out, and my chest is slightly forward as the barbell sitting here, or in a front squat, scratch the front squat, or if the barbell's on my back, or I'm loading any kind of weight on my back, I'm hurting my back and loading my discs like we talked about by going straight up. But watch what happens if I cue a little forward. I'm still in an optimal position, and my now knees go out as my butt is back and I head the way up. My chest is slightly forward. I don't have to be straight up and down, because if I'm straight up and down, my spine is, in theory, but in actual, not just in theory, but in actual biomechanical appropriate sense, being crushed. But I can offset those discs, and I can properly load my glutes and hamstrings with the cues I just gave you, which are butt back and knees out. One more time, I'm loaded on a barbell and I'm squatting. I'm going to hip hinge back with my knees slightly bent as I begin to press my heels to the outside of the floor. I'm separating the floor with my heels. Butt back, knees out, and I maintain that on the way up, butt back, knees out. And now I'm stable and I'm strong, and I haven't jeopardized my back. Remember, if you're doing everything perfect and your back is still getting hurt, or you have a recurrent injury in your back, you need to go see your Gonstead chiropractor. You need to go see your specific chiropractor. You've got to get that addressed in order for you to start rehabilitating the muscles all around. So that is today my cue for you guys out there, so that when you're loading the barbell, doing a squat, that is how you prevent the injury. That is how you get over those recurrent back pains. That is how you load the barbell the proper way. Guys, I hope that helped, and until next time, everybody, it's Dr. Pearlman.